Hi everyone, Adarsh here. So now we're gonna see how we can create a login, basic login application by using AngularJS. So in that I have done a lot of things. So I'm gonna tell you how we can do this type of requirement. So first we'll go to the maven.pom.xml where we have defined dependencies for some of the dependencies like group ID, artifact ID. Packaging will be wow because it's gonna be a wow file, and then organizational tag, licensing, developers, properties, then dependencies, and then we have a build where we have specified the war file name, the final name, output directory, resources. Then we have a bunch of plugins where we have standard Maven compiler plugin and followed by the JT server plugin. So let's jump into the web application. So in web application we have a CSS file which where we have a bootstrap CSS and we have our own custom CSS file here. Then we have a JS file here. Inside JS file we have a angular.js file, angular cookies.js file, and angular route.js file, and jquery.js file. So I'll tell you why we're gonna use this thing, because there are certain while doing a validation we need a cookies for the user, and route is something which we gonna use to route the URLs. If user is not logged in, we need to redirect the user to the login page and all. That's why route dependency is used, and jQuery is sub dependency for bootstrap. That's why jQuery is there. Then we have a app.js file where we have defined couple of things. We have modules directory where we have a view login.html, and we have corresponding controllers and service, and we have a home where we have a home view as well as corresponding controller for that. And then we have a web.inf where we have a web.xml where standard tags are there, display name and description, followed by welcome file list where we have specified index.html is a pop-up first home welcome file page for the whole application. So we have a index.html. So inside index.html we have defined a angular ng app. So let's get into the first into app.js where we have created a module which is authentication module for this, where we have created a module for home which is this, and third module which we have created a angular login basic authentication where we have injected other modules into this module, as well as some predefined module like ng route and ng cookies here. So we have defined a route provider in the configuration. We have configured a route provider. So anything which comes with the slash login corresponding controller will be this, and the template UI page will be the this. So this is something, template UI page is this, and corresponding controller will be the this controller, login controller. And if anything comes with the slash, home controller will be the controller for this URL, and corresponding template page will be the this page. So like that we have specified a run method with root, scope, location, cookie, store, and HTTP. So this gonna execute for every request. So where we have defined a function. So what this gonna do from the cookie store, it gonna get the global, and root scope dot global it gonna store in that, and it gonna check whether global is having current user or not. If it is having current user, it gonna set the header with the authorization equal to basic plus with this information auth data. And if it doesn't have that information, what it gonna do, it gonna change the location of that URL and redirect it to the slash login. So now the request gonna redirect to the slash login and login page. So login controller will be active, and this HTML page will be pop up into the UI. So for this is a basic stuff which we talk about. In the index.html, what we have defined a ng app here, data slash ng app, and then we have defined metadata, and we have imported a bootstrap related thing. We have defined a container. here we have used the ng view. So what happened, every view which we have defined, like this HTML and this thing, it gonna come and embed inside the this. So what it gonna do, that Angular will do the DOM manipulation, and whatever the this home.html or login.html based on the URL, it gonna come and sit inside this. So we gonna see the page. And here what we have done, we have imported all the files like min jQuery, Angular route, Angular cookies, application.js, service.js, controller.js, and bunch of other files. So I guess I have gone through all the things, flow and all. So in the login.html, we have just simple standard stuff. What we have done, we have created a form here with the two input box, username and password, and we are doing the validation here itself. It's required, and all this username is required, and all these things we are doing all these things here itself. And this is a submit button for this. So once everything is fine, we're gonna submit to this function. So this function we have defined into the login controller. This is so inside this, what we have injected, we have a login service here, authentication service. So authentication service, what it gonna do, based on the username and password, it gonna create a hash, and that hash it gonna save in the cookie store with this value. That's what we are trying to get it there. So what it gonna do, let's go one by one. In the controller, we have a method which is say known as login. So what we have done, authentication service.login, and we are passing the username, password, and we have passed the callback method here. So what this callback method do, what is the response based on the success, it gonna set the credentials, authentication service.set credentials, username and password, and change the location. If it is a response message equal to error, then it gonna do the data loading false, means again we gonna see the login page itself. So let's get into the service. So inside this service, what we have defined here, so we have defined a login controller. So here what we have done, we have set login here. So once function will come here, we are passing username, password, and callback method. So what we are doing, whether checking the username equal to Adarsh and password equal to Radha. If it is there, we are saying success as a true, and if response is not true, then we'll say response.message username or password is incorrect, and we are calling a callback.response, setting that method after 1000 millisecond. This is a timeout function. So if everything is fine here, what it gonna do, it gonna come there in the controller itself, and then we'll get the success. So what we are doing, we are saying the set credential here. So set credential, we are passing the username, password, and we are creating a base 64 encoding authorization header, which we gonna store in the root scope.global and current username as well as his authorization data, means that token which we have created here, and we are and then we are creating putting into the cookie store by using this key. Okay, and rest things are like how we can create all these things, you can go through that. And so first here what we are saying, clear credential. So in clear credential, what it gonna do, it gonna remove everything from the cookie stores, it's gonna empty everything. So this is a formula for creating a hash for that. So let's jump into the home view where we are not doing anything. Here we need to say style clear text central. I need to get rid of this central. So in the controller, what we are going to do, we are just simply, we are not doing anything, it's just a home, we are creating a module. This controller, we are just having an empty function here, and this is pretty much about this application. So let's execute this application. mvn gt :run. So this application started on port number 8080. So this is how, this is a default username and password. So you can see that I logged into that and I can log out, and if I say wrong username password, it's gonna prompt me an error message. So all these things are the basic things which we are expecting here. So I already explained you the flow of application and the code wise also. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this application in my GitHub repository, and you can pull it from there. Like my previous applications are already there, Adarsh Kumar Singh 83 /angular_js. So hope this will help you how we can create a login application in AngularJS by using proper authentication and using route, as well as how we can use ng view, and how we can use other dependencies like route provider and cookies and all. So hope this will help you. Till then, bye, take care.